What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Cork to Glory. This is episode number 47. And we start today's episode with seeing a draw for the fourth round of the FA Cup. As you can see, we've got Nottingham Forest away at the City grounds. We'll be taking on Mason Watson and Jay and Morgan Bell away from home there against the Championship side. Feel very confident. Obviously, last season we got to the fourth round, we're knocked out by Barnsley away. So yes, of course, based on what happened last season, overconfidence and complacency can be an issue. But I want to get back to the last 16, man. Two of the past 3 years, we've got to the last 16, only to be knocked out by two of the big boys in Spurs and Liverpool. So yeah, I want to get to the last 16 once again for the third time in 4 years. That would be pretty impressive, and we've got a good chance there against the second tier side. So for the first game of today's episode, on the back of a very credible 1-1 draw away at the Etihad Stadium, we'll take on Carlo Ancelotti's Everton here at Turner's Cross, aiming to return to winning ways. We did get off to a good start. Early on to the game, Mauro Icardi fires the Toffees in front and we're 1-0 down, but I've noticed throughout the course of this series, and actually to be fair, not just through this series, but also just in general on FIFA 21, lead changes are really common in this year's FIFA, and it seems like even when you're in a deficit of like 2 goals, sometimes even 3, there's always plenty of chances for you to get back into it. It just seems like, I don't know why, but over the past couple of years I feel like FIFA, it's become easier to score goals and also conversely concede them as well. So despite trailing, I thought we'd get back on level terms, and we would, and then in the second half, I was going to say, I don't know what I was going to say, Jay Byrne, but Luke Byrne gets his first goal for the club and gives us the lead as we turn the game on its head and win the match with 20 minutes to go. Yeah, Byrne's first goal for the club there in a very good turnaround 2-1 victory. And yeah, I just mentioned it there, I really do feel as though, I don't know if you guys had the same experience as me, but there was like a period between FIFA 16 to FIFA 19 where it felt like scoring goals against the AI was just incredibly difficult to do, and you also didn't concede that many as well. I swear, practically every single season in almost every single career mode save I did, I was setting a new record for most amount of clean sheets in the Premier League and, you know, least goals conceded. Whereas now it does feel as though there's just goals galore basically in all the games. So turnaround victories are not a rare occurrence whatsoever. So on the back of the victory there, we would then take on Arsenal here, also at Turner's Cross, and early on into the game, oh, no one can cope with this guy from corners. You just love to see it. Fourth of the season for Big Leo. Leo! 1-0 Cork, and you know, I mentioned it so many times before and I'll say it again. When Stoke first came to the Premier League, Rory Delap's long throws, the big boys, they didn't know how to cope with that sort of old school stuff. No one could cope with Big Leo on corners. But 56 minutes in, as we were still leading by a goal, the Gunners would find an level. This was such a frustrating goal as well, as Martinelli fires in the equaliser. You might have seen, I think it was Jamie Bowden, got screened by one of the Arsenal players there. It was an off-the-ball screen, taking it from basketball there. Couldn't get towards Martinelli, who had the free rein to run through one-on-one and score. And with 6 minutes to go, well, when it works in your favour, sometimes it'll work against your favour. Yep, those lead changes are so common in this year's FIFA. We get a taste of our own medicine. We beat Everton from coming from behind to get the victory. And in this game, Arsenal beat us coming from behind to get the victory. Leading by a goal in the first half, and then the second half, Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, who I think I mentioned before, he's one of my favourite young players in the Premier League to watch. I'm very excited about his potential career. Fires in the winner for the Gunners as Arteta's side get a big 3 points in Ireland. So yeah, so the third game of today's episode here, third of 4, taking on Nottingham Forest, final game of January, and it was of course going to be the FA Cup fourth round away at the City ground. And again, mentioned it at the start of the episode when the draw was made, I felt pretty confident into the game. I did pick a strong lineup though. You might have noticed in this series, I'm taking the FA Cup very seriously. The Carabao Cup, I'm not taking seriously at all. I don't really mind whether we go out or not. But the FA Cup, we've had, again, 2 out of the past 3 seasons, great runs reaching the last 16, and I'm taking this competition very seriously indeed. Bell gives us the lead, and then 11 minutes before the break, Luke Byrne gets his second goal in 3, as our number 6 fires in his first ever cup goal for us. Leading by 2, Forest didn't really threaten too much, and with 2.5 minutes to go, a chance to make it 3, and wrap the victory up, and we would as well. Ethan down left-hand side, rolls it across, and who's there to turn home from close range? Samuel Bell's not been quite as good in the Premier League as he was in the Championship. Obviously, much higher standard of football, but he still chipped in with some important goals, 2 of which here, as we progress through to the 5th round, and once again, for the 3rd year in 4, we're heading to the last 16 of the FA Cup. So, following the victory at the City Ground, it was time for transfer deadline day. We had around 14.5 mil in the budget after the sales of Galvin and McGlade. They didn't raise 14.5 mil, but combined with the sales and the money we had left over in the summer window, we had around 14.5 mil remaining. I wanted to bring in a new backup midfielder because what you guys might have noticed in our squad is that we've got a lot of central midfielders, but not a great deal of quality outside the main three. Rory Keane, Devine, and also Cunningham as well. And as we know, Devine spent quite a lot of time playing this year at right back, so we can fit Luke Burney into the holding midfield role, as he does have the exciting prospect tag. But the others are like 70, 71 rated. I wanted someone better for the bench. I really wanted Jason Malumbi. My word, he impressed me in his loan spell at the Den last year, but unfortunately a little bit out of our price range. However, there was a chance to bring in another good young midfielder from Ireland, currently playing for Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. Luke O'Connell, 23 years old, only 73 rated now, but at just 23 years old, I think he'll have some pretty decent potential and could definitely hit 80, as he's still got many years to go before he starts to show signs of decline. 4.25 mil was the fee. You know, he's not a very physical player, but technically already looks really good. 82 dribbling, and I think this is the sort of guy who's a bit of a you know, sort of like versatile player in the sense that he could play further forward in the attacking midfield role, utilise the dribbling and the vision, but also play as a defensive midfielder and a deep line playmaker in this team, and just spread balls around and be someone that holds onto the ball and dictates tempo quite well. I love those sort of players. You know, there are many players that have, you know, I've seen throughout the years watching football that are like that, you know, because obviously some players can only do one certain role in the centre of midfield, but there are many players that are just, again, they can just do it all, you know, and I think Connor is one of those players that could do that with a range of technical stats he has. He might not be the most physical player, but again, for 4.25 mil, pretty happy with that signing there, and hopefully, again, he'll improve our bench, give us a bit more squad depth and quality in squad depth, and turn out to be a pretty smart investment for just £4.25 million. That was the only signing we made on transfer deadline day. You might have seen there was a big bid for Eamon, the real deal Cunningham, right now one of the top assist makers in the Premier League. Unsurprisingly, despite the big bid from Mauricio Pochettino, I said, sorry bro, but he's going absolutely nowhere. You know, Cunningham and Bell in this team, I would say, are our two most influential players. I honestly think that Big Leo is becoming one of those really important players, and obviously there's Sharky, the captain, but Cunningham to me is like, I'm not sure I'd call him the star of the team. That's why I like this Cork City team so much. There isn't really one bona fide star that just stands out. It's a real team effort, but if I had to pick one, I probably would go with Cunningham, if I'm being honest here, so I'm not going to sell him for any fee whatsoever. So February's here, 14 games to go, Liverpool leading the way right now by 7 points on the back of the victory over Everton but a loss to Arsenal. We remain in 15th place. The gap between us and the bottom three is 8 points, so yeah, it's not over yet. It's really weird because I mentioned in this very last episode, we started the series off, started the season off, I was like, oh, come on. Like, I know we're a newly promoted side. We've got more quality than these teams in this division. There's no reason we shouldn't be targeting mid-table. But now, it has been a really inconsistent season. We haven't been in good form since around September, October time. So, starting to feel a little bit of pressure, being only 8 points clear with 14 games to go. Plenty of time for the teams to catch up, but one of the teams in the bottom three would be our final game of today's episode. Birmingham City here at Turner's Cross. We aim to return to winning ways in the Premier League. We would take a very early lead, but the Blues would cancel it out 24 minutes in, and I mentioned it many times before, this season, if we are to stay up and guarantee security, these are the games where we must win. And with a minute and a half to go in the first half, tied at 1-1, I was thinking a draw simply won't do. We need to put daylight between us and the bottom three right now. So as Tommy Healy restores our lead and makes it 2-1. In the second half, I started off really aggressively and thought, come on man, I've got to find that third goal. Give me some breathing room, give me a cushion, and bang, Samuel Bell. That was a rocket right into the top corner. Restores, sorry, he doesn't restore our lead, we're already leading, but it gives the 2-goal cushion and gives me some breathing room. And I mentioned this before, like whenever I'm leading by just a 1, I never feel comfortable, and you've seen why today due to the amount of lead change that happened in this year's FIFA. But when I've got a 2-goal cushion, I feel a lot less pressure and I feel a lot more comfortable. Samuel Bellberg gets his second in the second half there and makes it 4-1 to Cork City. Points seem to be in the bag, and whilst Halilovic would get a goal back for the Blues and make it 4-2. we would still hold on to the 3 points and get a big victory at Turner's Cross. So 4-2 the final score, returning to winning ways in the Premier League. 3 wins in 4 in all competitions, and as you can see by the Premier League table as well, as Liverpool still lead the way, now 9 points clear of Spurs and Manchester City. That latest win there against the Blues keeps us in 15th place, but gives us a bigger lead between us and Brighton 18th place. 11 points to gap now, 13 games to go. Long way to go, certainly not over yet, but we needed the win like that to help try and extend our lead. But that were 2 tips of the Court to Glory, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. Hope you all have a fantastic week. And I'll see you for the next episode of Cork to Glory, featuring the draw and the tie, the FA Cup last 16, very soon.